SpongeBob's mom has a secret darker than committing terrorism, committing a murder, and even tax fraud. She cheated on her husband. Infidelity, the action or state of being unfaithful to a spouse or other sexual partner. Yes, SpongeBob's mom fits the bill. But Mr. YouTube SpongeBob guy, why do you say this? SpongeBob is a nice kid show, wrong. Well, yes, it is a kid show, but still wrong. Listen, we can just simply look at SpongeBob and then look at his family. He doesn't really look like his parents too much, and we'll get into that. But I won't go as far as to say he was adopted, because in this episode, we see him as a baby in his mom's belly, like literally. So I won't be wrecking canon. But make note, he is a square even inside his mom. So what else could it be besides Harold is not the father? Now I'll show you some evidence, and I believe by the end, you will definitively see this bitch ain't loyal. As I said before, SpongeBob doesn't really look like his parents too much. Well, actually, SpongeBob does have his mom's eyes, so I've noticed that. But it's gonna be a little bit obvious because we definitely know that Margaret is really his mom. But anything from Harold? His clothes? Well, Harold could have just influenced him by like choosing his clothes as a baby, or really SpongeBob could have just been trying to emulate who he thinks his father is. And well, SpongeBob just straight up doesn't look anything like Harold. Now, his parents are typically believed to be old sponges, that they originally were probably yellow or a lighter shade of orange, and possibly square, and some people believe the color is dictated by age. So because SpongeBob is young, he is also yellow. But the thing is, in SpongeBob's own family tree, this is wrong. Now we see SpongeBob's grandpa in the episode Rock Bottom, and we actually see in this image that he is yellow and square at the old age, meaning he didn't turn orange or circular. And I damn well know that he looks older than SpongeBob's grandma. We see SpongeBob's grandma is actually the one who introduces this orange and circular look into SpongeBob's family tree. So we can infer that this orange and circular look does not come with age, but is instead another like race or subspecies within sponges. So SpongeBob is a mixed light skin. That begs the question, why is SpongeBob bright yellow and square? And we see from all over the family tree that the men are usually yellow and well square. That SpongeBob's genetics are really strong, coming all the way from primitive SpongeBob. And Harold is not yellow or squared, so he got his genetics from SpongeBob's grandma. Another point is SpongeBob is also not behaviorally like Harold. Harold in early episodes is characterized as chill, slow speaking. He has this very easygoing attitude. And sure, maybe as a kid he could have been like SpongeBob, but with age it just doesn't mean he's fundamentally different. But okay, what else could prove that Harold is not the father? Well, this goes back to genetics. Harold is obviously orange. SpongeBob's grandma is orange. And while SpongeBob looks like his historical ancestors from SpongeGar, primitive SpongeBob, SpongeBuck, just like them in fact, his genetics are really strong. He is directly descended from SpongeBob, who is SpongeBob's grandpa's dad, so great grandpa. And SpongeBob looks just like SpongeBob, and SpongeBob's grandson looks just like SpongeBob. So there is some strong evidence to say that in the case of sponges, you get your looks primarily from your dad, or that the yellow genetics is just really strong, besides Harold, because well, his mom's genetics won out in that one. He's mixed. So it would be reasonable to believe that Margaret cheated because SpongeBob does not look like Harold whatsoever. So who is SpongeBob's real dad? Who did Margaret fuck? Well, we don't have to speculate because the answer is right in front of us. And the case gets worse for Harold specifically. She fucked Uncle Sherm, Harold's own brother. And it makes sense too. Sherm is yellow and square. The only one, in fact. His son is Cousin Stanley. Another case of the genetics looking really strong. And okay, so maybe presumably Sherm is tall or his wife is extremely tall, because Cousin Stanley is also taller than SpongeBob. So I presume SpongeBob gets his height from his mom and dad because they're both short. So the way I see it, Sherm is the only possible candidate. And besides the one appearance we see him in, which he has a watermelon up his nose for some reason, he's behaviorally like SpongeBob. He's whimsical. He has a watermelon up his nose. I mean, SpongeBob, I could see SpongeBob doing it. And SpongeBob and Stanley are alike in similar ways, like in an immature way. They're just as silly and childlike, and I would say Cousin Stanley is probably more. So my theory is Margaret fucked Sherm before Harold and them got married. His own brother. So we established the color and shape are genetically linked to the father's side, or at least very strongly. And it's a little bit obvious because SpongeBob is yellow and square, and both of his parents are circular and orange. And sure, you could say the gene is recessive, but I think we've seen before in the family tree that it is pretty dominant. And we can notice that SpongeBob's direct ancestors are all pretty much like him personality wise. So wouldn't it make sense that his possible dad is also like him? Whimsical, funny, like sticking watermelon up their noses. I could see SpongeBob doing that. And we could roll out another sponge from another sponge family possibly being SpongeBob's dad, because SpongeBob has a direct line of sponges in his own family. So it had to come from someone within the family that Harold knows, aka his brother. It had to be probably one of his uncles, and one of his uncles looks just like it. So I rest my case. Margaret is a slut. Thank you for tuning in and watching this episode. I know that this is probably really weird. All for watching to the end. I know this theory is a little out there, so take it with a little pinch of salt, but also believe me because I'm usually right. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. I really do appreciate the support. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all later.